around it. Let's play this game.
I need another heavy. I've got TB and a quick draw.
I want to get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. And when anybody's running short, we're just going to stay towards the top of the caldera if we're going to come at them.
I have you in the Griff.
Sounds good.
Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine nach Charlie 4.
It's fine, chill the f*** out, man, it's fine, it's just a 5-starter.
Kommt Leute, redet miteinander.
15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly,
Don't die. 15 seconds, don't die.
Guys. 3, 2, 1.
Charlie Dar, CT, yellow. Okay, go to Charlie, see if we can get it.
There, to your left, there's a... Sorry, shit.
So, jetzt guys, hinter die Indie-Pocken.
Mediums be prepared to pull back E40 towards the E5 border. On my mark.
Left side, come on! Like now, I need strikes on OP barrels. Why are our strikes up?
Die Hauptgruppe rechts, Uferlinie.
They have 3 mechs sitting on the left side when you pass over.
Overheating is bad.
Both legs on the Griffin. Hit the Griffin.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. That was such a
That's right. I'm gonna spawn Lance, you guys in Charlie. Lance, you guys in Bravo. That's B2C1.
This third drop is 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
What's in die Breite? Ziehen Sie dann in die Breite?
Lights, watch our backs. We're gonna about base and take up position in Bravo 6.
Ja, kurz Aufschaltung Delta 4, 3 Stück, 2 Mediums, ein Light, wie ich es richtig gesehen habe.
Make a firing line. C4 Tactical Hill, boys. Fox.
Laufen unter ECM, hab 2 durchlaufen, 10 Bravo 4.
And get ready to hit people coming from our right.
Charlie on the left, Charlie Hellbringer on the left.
Okay, let's group up towards the left. We're gonna press through Bravo 3 to Bravo 4. I think they're kind of spread out.
Check yourselves, make sure you've got, UAV cool shot.
Here they come, they're pushing hard, guys.
Deco. Tez on.
Go. Oh, got a contact here, Bravo 3.
Nice, Marshall. I'm on Delta Griffin.
We'll get cross it then, get in their face. They got a highlighter, they just pushed up on Theta. We need help on Theta. Up on Theta. Yep, that's the noise. Go. Let's finish this. Full pressure, guys. Full pressure. They're down low. They're down low in Charlie 3. Get the fucking arm, Jackson.
Jackson, cool shot.
Cough. I got him.
Okay, go, B3, go.
Echo, go.
Get over your medium, guys. Get Echo Stormcrow. God, I suck as a pilot, but thank I packed my skill. I'm sorry that you died, sweet girls, but we will send a reasonably nice letter to your family. To the paper doll. Make sure you guys are shooting the correct legs. Be careful of the collisions. I don't want to hear complaints about it. Work around it. Let's play this game.
I need another heavy. I've got TB and a quick draw.
I want to get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. And when anybody's running short, we're just going to stay towards the top of the caldera if we're going to come at them.
I have you in the Griff.
Sounds good.
Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine nach Charlie 4.
It's fine, chill the f*** out, man, it's fine, it's just a 5-starter.
Kommt Leute, redet miteinander.
15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly,
Don't die.
guys,
15 seconds, don't die.
guys. 3, 2, 1.
Charlie Dar, CT yellow.
Okay, go to Charlie, see if we can get a dire.
To your left, there's a... So, jetzt gleich hinter die Indie-Pockets,
Mediums be prepared to pull back E40 towards the E5 border. On my mark.
Left side, come on! Like now, I need strikes on OP barrels. Wire are strikes up.
Die Hauptgruppe rechts, Uferlinie.
They have 3 mechs sitting on the left side. When you pass over?
Overheating is bad.
Both legs on the Griffin. Get the Griffin!
Sorry about that. That was such a
That's right. I'm gonna spawn Lance, you guys in Charlie, Lance, you guys in Bravo. That's B2C1.
This third drop is 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
Jetzt in die Breite, zieht euch in die Breite.
Lights, watch our backs. We're gonna about base and take up position in Bravo 6.
Kurzaufschaltung Delta 4, 3 Stück, 2 Mediums, ein Light, wie ich es richtig gesehen habe.
Make a firing line.
C4 Tactical Hill, boys.
Fox.
Greetings, Mech Warriors, and welcome to the MRBC Season 7 preview match between Antari Scorpions and Steel Jaguar. I've been pretty excited to bring this one to you guys because it's going to kind of give a showcase to what we can expect from the rule set and from teams in Season 7 of MRBC. If you're not familiar with MRBC, it is a competitive 8v8 league. It has quite a few teams. It's pretty much the biggest league right now in Mech Warrior, and so they're doing really well, and they're very, very strong right now. So they're going to be moving into Season 7, and I think I wouldn't be surprised to see this be the biggest season of all. They just opened up their sign-up, so if you guys are interested in signing a team up for MRBC, make sure you guys get onto the website, mrbcleague.com, sign your team up, and have some fun with us. MRBC is kind of an interesting league in that it's divisional play, so when you join, you start at the bottom and work your way up. It's very friendly to newer units who aren't very familiar with the competitive scene and want to learn more. You can start at that bottom and just get used to things, work on your strats, become better as players, and then ultimately climb the ladder and start playing with the big guys up in the higher divisions and things like that. There is a new rule set for Season 7. We're pretty excited. We've been working hard on trying to fix some of the problems with last season. Even though they were relatively minor problems, it still was the things that we didn't want to ignore anybody and wanted to make sure that we spent some time to try and make things better. So we'll be introducing some conquest matches this season. It used to be all skirmish before, and now it is going to have conquest for drops 3, 4, and 5. We are still doing skirmish in drops 1 and 2, so we're going to see how that works out, and it should be really interesting. Conquest really takes care of a lot of the standoffs and worrying about ties and things like that, so it should add quite a bit of interesting gameplay. First drop is going to be on, well, actually, I should start with this. My co-caster, as you guys should know by now, is MDM0. He's on Marine Mechs with me.
Hey, guys.
So he's going to be coming in for another one, and hopefully we can bring you guys some good commentary. Antari Scorpions and Steel Jaguar are two very good teams. Definitely top-tier teams, so these guys know what they're doing. They play hard. They play very well. So you can expect some really good gameplay from both of these guys. MD, new rule set. What do you think about these changes?
I'm excited about the rule set. I think I'm also excited to see how the rule set and how just general MRBC play is affected by the meta change and some of the different quirks that we've seen on various mechs and the changes to gameplay from the last balance pass. I think between having conquest, especially on your heavy drops where you've got a lot of firepower involved, but now if you sit still you could get out capped, plus the fact that really brawling has been brought back into a more viable state now than what it had been for last season, certainly. I think we're going to see some really smash mouth sort of mech warrior, and you know what? When we spectated a lot of different games last season, and we saw a lot of really enjoyable matches to play, and I think that when we put those rule sets combined with the balance changes, we're going to see some great games this season. I'm actually really looking forward to even just shoutcasting, let alone competing in MRBC this season.
Absolutely. Just want to throw this note out there to anybody that might be new to our stream. Because this is, even though it's a scrimmage, it is still a competitive match style. So we want to get used to the rules and things like that. And our standard is a 5-minute delay for any competitive matches to essentially maintain the integrity of the match. I don't think any of these teams would sink as low as doing any sort of stream sniping on each other to watch their decks or movements or anything like that. But just to make sure that there's absolutely no doubt, we do put a delay on the stream. It makes it a little bit more difficult to interact with the Twitch audience. Feel free, though, to say stuff. We'll try and answer you. Otherwise, we have some fantastic mods out there that can answer some of your questions and things like that. I know MD is able to watch the chat a little bit closer. I'm clicking on everything I possibly can over here. But definitely, if you guys got any questions about the game, especially if you're new to Mech Warrior, if you're just catching the stream and you haven't even played Mech Warrior, or you've just started playing, feel free to ask any questions about the game in chat. The Mech Warrior community is definitely one of the best communities I've ever interacted with, and there's a lot of people who are very willing to help you guys out, so feel free to ask anything. We will be doing some giveaways in stream tonight, premium time codes and a Mech Bay, things like that, so stick around. I am back on the MRBC League channel, so we'll be using Moobot for that, which will involve the typing exclamation point raffle to enter the drawings when the time comes. So I'll make sure, don't do it now, but we'll make sure to let you guys know, and I'll try to synchronize it with the stream to make sure that you guys hear that a raffle is opening. We'll leave it open for a short time, close it, and do the drawing, and we'll take care of all that. Definitely follow both my channel, BanditB17 on Twitch. I do a lot of shoutcasting, have been doing a lot of shoutcasting lately, and I'm enjoying it, and I want to keep doing it. So I don't always do shoutcasts on the MRBC League channel, but I do some on my channel as well. So follow both MRBC League and myself to catch all the action, and it'll also help if you win any giveaways where it won't put the codes in your junk box. So give us a follow. Let's see. So teams are starting to form up and get in their lobbies. So drop 1 is going to be our...
You have drop 3 listed.
I have drop 3 listed. I actually just got that. Thank you to my lovely wife for helping me out here. We will fix that right now. Drop 1 is the reconnaissance drop. We are doing 4 lights, 4 mediums, 0 heavies, 0 assaults. So it's definitely a very light drop on Canyon Network. A lot of jump jets, I'm sure, so we might see a lot of hopping around on the mountainside and stuff like that. The rule set is different for this season. We simplified it so every single drop, the rule for duplicates is 1 duplicate. That's for clans and inner sphere added together. So we are going to see, most likely, we could see 8 different mechs per side, but we could see, 7 different mechs with 2 of the mechs being duplicated. But they can bring 2 of the same clan mech this time, so that'll add a little bit of flavor to it. One thing I did not write into this little rule set here on the screen, but is in there, is... in drop 1, clan streaks are banned, so we won't be seeing streak boating or dual Stormcrow streak boats or anything like that. We just felt that was going to be the best option. So no clan streaks at all in drop 1. Still no strikes here, but obviously other consumables like Cool Shot, UAV are obviously accepted. But yeah, I mean, it's the simplified rule set. We shouldn't see nearly as many drop deck mistakes as last season where somebody brought 2 duplicates instead of 1 or something like that, because, it was a little bit of a roller coaster. Now straight across the board, 1 duplicate, and that's all you get.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the nice hidden gems of the rule set this season, that no clan streaks. I think everyone can kind of agree that for a competitive tournament, right, it's not a lot of fun when it's not really a contest of skill so much as how fast can you get your locks and how creative can you get your drop decks to put as many streak boats as possible. We were seeing streak adders, streak storm crows, you know, just really not what we wanted to see out of, you know, competitive play, and especially MRBC. So I think especially with the balance passes, the clan IS balance, at least among top mechs, has mostly evened out. So I'm excited to see how people approach this drop 4, especially now without streaks. You know, what are you going to bring? What are you going to do? How are you going to replace that? I think we'll see a lot of small pulse laser, small laser boating, but that certainly adds some excitement to a very fast-paced match.
Absolutely. So, looks like both teams are ready. We should be getting in there relatively quick. One quick note, I have multiple scene collections for my different streaming, so I had to dust off the MRBC collection and made the, I don't want to say a mistake, but I had a bright idea to start modifying my in-game overlay a couple hours before tonight. So, hopefully everything goes according to plan, but I think it looks pretty nice, and we'll switch over there right now. Hit all the crazy buttons. You know, in 8v8s, I'm wondering whether or not we can do the backspace again. Let's see how laggy that is. It is pretty laggy still.
All right, let's take a look at what we got going on here. We have Antari Scorpions running 2 Jenners. That's their duplicate mech. That's an interesting choice.
What kind of Jenners?
Oh, they are the Oxide, though. Sorry,
Ooh,
correction.
SRMs.
That is not an interesting choice. That is something to expect.
It's interesting because since the last patch, we've been seeing quite a few Oxides roaming around. Those SRMs really do quite a bit of damage in a very short amount of time, especially if aimed correctly.
2 duplicate Griffin 3Ms for SJR, so kind of 2 different approaches here, duplicating the Oxides, duplicating the Griffins, and we have already kind of a quick engagement here. Looks like SJR is getting a little bit of scouting here with their 2 of their light mechs, Arctic Cheetah and a Jenner.
Antari Scorpions staying on the low ground, coming up right up down through the path here, but SJR is going to waste no time and start shooting down at them from the top of the ridge. They are maintaining their high ground. One Oxide has jumped down into the pit, but ran right around the corner. So we've got a little bit of a top-down battle going on here. Not usually a good sign to be on the low ground here, and as we can see, the Stormcrow Radek getting pummeled from the upper side.
Magician got a great shot on him right at the beginning there, opened him up. AS has done the right thing, though. They've come up that ramp and stopped trying to engage from below, and the Magician goes down.
So the Blackjack got kind of held off in the bottom there, and he's going to start getting picked away by the Light Max, but the rest of the entire Scorpions group has moved up and has begun brawling in close range. We are at 2-2 right now, so it is anybody's game at this point. Early kills didn't mean much, but another entire Scorpions mech does go down.
And G-Man is down in the cannon. He just goes down, actually killed himself. He was scored bright CT. Looks like the Oxides here might make a little bit of a difference for Antari Scorpions down in the canyon. They are putting out a lot of damage.
So now we have actually 4 dead for SGR, 3 dead for Antari Scorpions. They're staying pretty well packed up. Do take down another SJR mech. So that early weak start, they actually got their murder ball together up on the high ground and started working. So another one goes down for Antari Scorpions. The Raven for SJR is sitting across the way. The 2X is just sitting there having a field day on people. That could make a difference, but we'll see. Down to 2 remaining SJR mechs, and they are starting to close the gap on the Raven, and they were going to try and work him down. We do have the remaining Arctic Cheetah here chasing one of the Oxides. We've got a little bit of a 1v1 brawl over here, but let's see what they're doing to the Raven. 2v1 against the Raven, and he is still fighting, not legged or anything yet, but that's a lot of incoming damage. He's taking quite a bit of fire. They are all starting to work that Raven down now, and I think we just had a leg on the Arctic Cheetah over here.
Both the Arctic Cheetah,
but he does take down his opponent. Let's see if he can get the kill on the Oxide. He is down.
And that Raven is legged. He's about to go down.
And he does. So drop 1 in a very close, tight brawl. It was tough to see which way that was going to swing. I would say that went in favor of SJR at the beginning with that high ground, but they were working down the Blackjack at the bottom of the hill. Took a little bit, I would say, a little bit too long to kill him, and Blackjacks are very tanky right now. While they were working that Blackjack down, AS went up the ramp through Theta and pounded into the side of SJR, and that murder ball, they showed how well that those guys can focus fire right there, and they were able to pull that back and maintain that DPS to take out SJR in the first round.
Yeah, really interesting looking at the match scores, too. The decision to take 2 Griffins didn't actually work out that well for SJR, but the 2 Oxides with the top damage for AS on their teams, both of them, 536 damage for Oven Rude and the Jenner Oxide, and 386 for the other Oxide, Hulkins. And, of course, AS has changed all their names around, so I can't even tell which one's which anymore. But good job for the Oxides. And an interesting thing that you saw there, bringing the Oxides instead of a dual medium actually seemed to pay off for Antari Scorpions. I guess that's what the Quirk Pass has done for us.
Absolutely. Let me just quick select my region here for the instant replay so we can get looking at that right away. I'm going to go ahead and do our first drawing, so go ahead and type !raffle into chat when you hear this, and we will get you guys in there. So we'll go ahead and pull this over, and there's our replay. So let me rewind it a little bit here. I want to see what you were seeing at the beginning. Oopsie.
Yeah, right at the beginning there, actually, it looked like SJR had such a great position standing on the rim, and Atari Scorpions held up. They slowed up for a second and kind of wanted that fight to happen in the canyon, it almost seemed like. And those Griffin 3Ms were just firing down SRMs like it was nobody's business. Really got a lot of damage out, but AS managed to recover, do the right thing, which is get out of that canyon when you got guys right on the rim and bring it into a more even brawl. And at that point, I mean, those Oxides were just tearing up SJR the whole game.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm seeing here Magician getting those easy pops over there, but look at how tight those red dots are coming in over Theta. And I'm going to be interested to see how well... Oh, that shot to the shoulder on Magician, that was very well placed by, I think that was a fire starter? Just well placed to the shoulder, dispatching him early. Taking that firepower out of their hands is huge.
Yeah, that was the other thing to notice. The Magician only managed to do about 100 and some damage in that Griffin. The other Griffin did 300. So if you consider, if he had stayed alive a little longer, another 200 damage would have been very important, especially in a light drop like this. There's not a lot of armor to go around when it's 4 mediums, 4 lights. So that early kill on the was that the Magician or G-Man? Now I got confused. The early kill on the Griffin really did, I think, help AS kind of
I think
pull
Magician
that
was in
back.
a Blackjack.
Oh, well, what do I know?
I think he was. But yeah, I'm just watching your spectate of Oven Road. This is a very thrilling view in the cockpit here, just zooming around, and just you can see the attention. I mean, he couldn't catch up to that guy. Oxides don't have jump jets, and so he just moved to the next target. And in every single SRM volley he tosses out is just a massive amount of damage. That's so much damage being put down on the target that it's hard to survive that for very long. And with I think it was it a combination quirk bonus to the Oxide. I don't remember exactly what they gave him. I'm sure they gave him some structure buffs or something. Somebody in chat can definitely chime in to see what they did to the Oxide. But I think above all, the thing that made the Oxide better is the buff to the SRMs. Tighter spread. I think that's the biggest thing, is the tighter spread on the SRMs make it almost like a ballistic. Everything you shoot goes where you want it to go for the most part. The Hugins used to be very, very, very strong, but we saw them kind of fizzle out a bit compared to the Oxide because they did get a quirk nerf as well. So we've pretty much taken the Oxide out, or the Hugin out, and replaced it with the Oxide here. Oxides can be killed though, and but they're a little bit of a glass cannon, but that output is unmatched.
Yeah, I'm taking a look now. Frost posted the oxide quirks here. 15% missile velocity, 10% heat generation, your basic acceleration, turn quirks, and some torso. So, or sorry, 15% cooldown. I read that wrong with the format. So 15% cooldown, plus 10% velocity, minus 10% heat gen. So really, I think that cooldown was the difference maker there, and makes it a lot better than the Hugin does. I think at this point, I mean, we've been seeing the oxide everywhere between that and the Jenner 2C is about the only walking torsos we're used to seeing anymore. Certainly long past the age of the Jenner 7Fs and medium lasers, medium pulse, those sort of things. You know, those mechs, I think, unfortunately, just can't compete anymore.
Absolutely. I'm just seeing the everybody's starting to enter the raffle now, so that's awesome. Got
At least we know you guys are listening.
Yep. Got a pretty good showing tonight. Thank you, everybody, for coming by and watching this MRBC preview. Definitely going to be doing a lot of MRBC shoutcasts. I do want to do at least one more preview before the start of the season. And if anybody's wondering what happened to the New Year in the Inner Sphere exhibition series, we are still going to be carrying that on. I'm going to maintain the 12v12 aspect of that, though, so we're going to find some teams that want to play each other for that and still do at least one more of those before... I guess I could do them as long as I feel like it, but the intention was to kind of fill the gap before other 12v12 stuff happens, and I know that we've got the Merc Star Invitational is going to be starting very soon, and I may shoutcast some of those too if they want me to, and stuff like that. But MRBC, of course, has opened up signups. Signups, I believe, will be open for about a month, allowing all the teams to gather their rosters, read through the rule set, and make sure that this is what they want to do. Then they pick the fixtures. They get the teams into divisions. They're going to be, I believe, they're going to be 4-team divisions. So if we have quite a few teams, we're going to have a lot of divisions and stuff. Teams will be moving up, teams will be moving down, and it should be exciting. It should have last season we had a lot of really close matchups, and it was super exciting. Some of this that was my first opportunity to shoutcast for the MWO community. It was in season 6 of MRBC, and it was a blast. Every team that we watched had very close, fun matches. So hopefully you can get a little bit of a feel of that here. While this is a scrimmage for these teams, they are playing hard, and they want to beat each other even in a scrimmage, because that's the point. Is they're learning what works, what doesn't work, and they're gonna do their best against each other. So should be good. But first one does go to Antari Scorpions. So let's see what SJR can do to answer. Drop 2 will be on River City. This is the Recon and Force drop. So 2 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies, no assaults. Still no strikes on this, but the 1 max chassis, 1 duplicate mech still applies. Streaks are allowed here. It'll be interesting to see if we see some clan streaks in use, but they are not restricted here.
Yeah, this is the map that I'm a little bit curious to see how people will play it. We've seen ranged drops on this map. We've seen ranged versus brawl, and we've seen brawl. This is kind of an interesting map, I think, in that maybe there isn't necessarily one defined strategy that everyone kind of gravitates to. There's certainly about 2 defined spots that everyone gravitates to, whether that's the Cathedral or Upper City, in that dropship area, but it'll be interesting. A lot of times teams might go range, they might go up by the dropship, Upper City, they might go into the water by the Cathedral, and sometimes they just push right in for a brawl. So I'm curious to see how these 2 teams approach this, especially with the new rule set and unlimited clan mechs, or unlimited within the chassis limitation, obviously, and things like that. It'll be curious for me, I think.
For sure. Just gonna go ahead and do the raffle drawing as we enter into drop 2.
Cross your fingers.
CS Johnson 15, congratulations. I will message you that code after the stream is completed. Make sure you follow MRBC League and Bandit B17 to make sure you don't have any issues receiving the codes. All right, let's go jump into the match.
I'm still waiting for the shoutcaster or spectating option to ride in on the dropship, like on top of the dropship or cockpit view from the dropship, not inside of it.
That would be pretty cool. All right, so in blue we have Antari Scorpions. In red we have Steel Jaguar. What are you seeing over by you?
Looking like Antari Scorpions have a mostly brawl deck. I'm seeing some large pulse lasers in some of their bigger mechs, but they've got Wolverine 7Ks with SRMs, Enforcer with large pulse. It's a mix of SRMs. They've got 2 Oxides again, so there's their troublemakers right there.
Over on the Steel Jaguar side, we are actually seeing ER large lasers. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
This is the first time since the patch, I believe, that we've had a ranged versus brawl deck. Now, this is skirmish, so they have to kill each other. There's no conquest here. Because of that, it allows the team to kind of sit back and take the shots. One thing to note, and one addition to our rule set, we had some issues before, not too many, but some issues where teams would kind of camp with their ER large lasers, and kind of goad the brawl deck into coming into them. Well, this season, if there is a draw, that match is then shelved, and then the winner of the series gets the full win on that draw. But Antari Scorpions is wasting no time to get into brawl range. SJR is doing a good job rotating out of Upper City.
Trying to rotate out of the way here.
It is pretty desperate, though, because their tail end is starting to get those SRMs on them here, and that's going to hurt really quick. Let's watch this guy and see how he's faring. If I can click on him. There we go. He is taking a lot of hits. Pretty well spread. Still has all of his weapons, but he is just trying to get distance and allow the rest of his team to get across the water. Looks to me, though, that Antari Scorpions has a very fast deck, and they are wasting no time getting their lasers to bear, and are chasing
down already. Two mechs down for SJR right now, and they are in a lot of trouble here. They get their first kill, but they have the brawl deck is on top of them. There's Oxides running around in the middle of them. Another kill goes down for SJR. This is not looking good at this point. They are not in the position that they want to be at.
I'm sure SJR is running up their heat really badly right now. It's very tough to sustain DPS in ER large laser mechs compared to, large pulse or large laser mechs, things like that. So once they do close that gap,
yeah,
you
and
can't
it's already
maintain
down
it.
to 5 kills for SJR, 6 kills for SJR. This is not going well.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't want to jump the gun and say that range versus brawl is always going to go towards brawl. I'm sure there are still opportunities for a range team to win against a brawl team, but in this particular instance, 8-1 decision in favor of Antari Scorpions.
And I think the structure buffs that IS mechs have received...
Make sure you get the score thing. My game just crashed.
Really... Okay, I'll bring up the score menu here. We'll take a look at it. We've got Oven Rude and the Grasshopper 5H with 400 damage on the dot. Nicely done. Bradley, Enforcer 4R, 345. Just a really nice damage spread, it looks like. The bottom lance there, Bravo Lance for Antari Scorpions, was an all SRM lance with the Griffins, 2 Oxides, and Wolverine. And 300 damage almost across the board except for 1 Wolverine. And unfortunately for SJR, just not enough time, not enough heat to be able to put out the damage. Fire Starter S with the most damage for SJR at 228. But like you said, in a ranged deck, one of the things you have to conserve is simply your heat. That limits you when another team pushes you. You just can't pull the trigger, or else you'll overheat or you'll override, maybe wind up taking edge damage and killing yourself. You want those long, drawn-out engagements because then you can use your range to your advantage. And unfortunately, as I was saying before, I think the IS structure buffs now have allowed for faster drop decks to have the time to close the distance without necessarily taking too much critical damage, whether that's being able to spread that across your components and just having your armor last a little longer, or even when you get into engagement, even if you're cored, you have just a little bit longer to stay alive just because you have those structure bonuses. And on a map like River City is now, with the terrain combined with this is a somewhat faster deck, a lighter deck for MRBC. Drop 2 is, I believe, 2 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies. Is that correct? Yes, I think that's correct.
2 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies is what you said?
Yes.
Yep. Yes, that is correct.
So that's a faster drop, and when you have that extra little bit of structure, extra little bit of armor, you don't necessarily worry about the damage you're going to take crossing that last distance. And clearly right there, AS, had the pedal to the metal, and SJR just wasn't able to keep enough space between them.
Yeah, they wasted no time. They did get pretty well strung out, which did allow SJR to kind of turn around, backpedal, and take some shots. So they didn't get slaughtered without returning fire. However, the slower guys from their group that had took some time getting across the water, AS, they're not going to look at a gift horse in the mouth, and they're going to just work down those tail end mechs, kill them, take them out of the picture, and then move right on to the hotter mechs that are remaining. They're shooting as fast as they can to try and get something done. But you can even see the spread on some of these mechs very well, spreading the damage as they charge in. Take your shot, spread it. Take your shot, spread it. And that's why alpha striking in is so important, because it gives you the opportunity to make those spreads. And plus, coming across the water too, it's tough to shoot legs and things like that. A lot of torsos being targeted, so that gives you even more opportunity to make the spread. So keep in mind, this is a skirmish. These teams are learning what works, what doesn't. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say at the very least, Upper City, River City, maybe it was the speed they got to where they needed to be. Maybe they spawned in the wrong locations, something like that. But whatever happened there didn't work. So we'll see what they do going into the next season to change that up.
Yeah, and I like what I'm seeing Magician posting in Twitch chat right now, and I kind of have to agree with them. I like what he's doing. They're testing things out, and I really hope that both teams take this as an opportunity, not just to kind of sharpen up on your skills, get your focus ready to play, but also this is the first time we've done 8v8 comp drops with the New Balance Pass. It's just like the New Year in the Inner Sphere exhibition series we're doing. It's the first time we've done 12v12 comp drops with the New Balance Pass. Find out what works, get your team ready to play, and both of these teams have played each other before in comp matches, and I guarantee you this will not be the last time they play each other. So they're familiar with each other, and this is they're getting the opportunity to kind of get a little bit of excess practice in, and as we mentioned before, they were nice enough to let us shoutcast it, so we do appreciate that.
Absolutely. I don't want to say that range isn't going to work. We can't go that far yet. It needs to be tested thoroughly. One thing to note, though, is that this was an incredibly light drop with 4 mediums and the heaviest being 2 heavies. And you can get some pretty fast heavies, too. So, you don't want to go as far as saying range is dead or anything like that. However, because of the speed, I feel it favors mediums and a lighter deck to be able to run down your opponent, and that's exactly what we saw. AS held down the W key, and they won it. SJR did their best to rotate, and they definitely maintained distance better than I think many teams would. A lot of newer teams and stuff, they would probably end up just receiving and then getting completely slaughtered quickly. SJR did keep distance and did deal some pretty good damage. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get enough kills. 8-1 score is fine and dandy, and it looks like a blowout, but I'm sure if you looked at the percentages and looked at how hurt a lot of those mechs were, just a little bit more time could have been enough to at least give them some more kills, if not push it the other way. But this game is all based on, one mistake can turn the tide of a battle. I don't want to necessarily say a mistake was made, but everything needs to fall into place to have solid matches.
And I think the biggest thing we might be seeing so far between what we've done earlier with the New Year in the Inner Sphere and this match so far as it's gone tonight is between the balance pass, some of the different rule changes and things for MRBC, but a lot has to do with the balance pass. Range builds are not becoming unviable. They're not becoming something that you no longer can bring. but they're becoming more situational than they were in the past. Previously, with the last Balance Pass, what we saw in the last competitive seasons was there wasn't really any incentive whatsoever to do anything other than to do a range build. It didn't matter what map you were on, what situation you might have been in, you were going to bring a range build because those simply were the best. Now it looks like, on some maps, range builds just aren't going to be the best situation, but on other maps, they very well might be. So I to be honest, I like that. I like that it seems like so far, and obviously there's still more matches to be played, and we'll get a better feel for it as the competitive season, both with MRBC and some of these other leagues, start up and go on. But it seems like so far that the balance changes have allowed for different strategies to be viable in different situations, and I think that's only a good thing for competitive play.
Man, I would love that infinite range night vision for spectators. Just everything turns green.
Yeah.
You can see everything on a night map. I agree. I hope you guys are listening, devs. That would be awesome for spectators, is infinite range night vision. Make it happen. Oh, that'd be cool. All right, so going into Drop 3, Crimson Strait. This is the Commander Assassination map. So one unique thing about Drop 3 is that both teams have to bring a Commander mech. And that changes every season. This season,
it's always the best mech in the game.
AKA the worst mech of the game. At least, we don't want to say the worst mech, because they do try to have variety. I mean, the worst mech could be the same every single season, as far as we know. But it's a mech that nobody would consider top tier. So for this season, the Commander mech, which is the only assault in this drop, will be a Victor. I'm kind of excited about that. I have some fun in a Brawler Victor, especially. Yeah. They can be entertaining. They do have XL engines, so they are kind of glass cannons, but it's like a mini Atlas. And I haven't played one since the SRM buff either, so it'll be interesting what happens there.
I'm waiting for the first person to bring a standard Victor, just because in competitive play, everyone knows that you bring an XL and a Victor. I kind of want to see a standard Victor just so someone can troll
they can tank
the enemy team saying, "Oh, nope, you take out my side torso, I'm still alive." Probably won't see it because they're just so slow, but, a man can dream.
Yep, so the reason there's a commander, of course, is point system for MRBC leaderboards is based on C-bills. Not in-game C-bills, but C-bills that are calculated by the website. So if you kill the commander mech on the opposing side and keep yours alive, you have to keep yours alive and you have to kill theirs, you get a bonus 50,000 C-bills, which doesn't seem like much, but in the grand scheme of things, we've seen a lot of teams that are very close to each other, and that's worth 2 kills in both skirmish and conquest. A kill is worth 25,000 C-bills, so you can get the 25,000 for killing the commander, and then another 50,000 because it's the commander. So everybody, obviously your goal is to kill everything, but, there's you have that in the back of your mind that if you want that bonus, you got to keep your Victor alive. So you might either take a more passive role, or you could have one of your better pilots who can keep themselves alive, take control of it. Or you just don't care and just try to 8-0 them, which is what a lot of people do, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but a well-placed shot can take him out and cost you some money. So still no strikes allowed here, and we still are, of course, on the 1 duplicate allowed. What were the duplicates on that last one?
AS brought, again, 2 Oxides as their duplicate, and you know what? I don't remember what SJR brought, so we'll have to go back to the footage on that one and take a look. But,
well, it's a nice thing about having an instant replay thing is I can
go back and take a look right now.
Go back and take a look right now. I'll just look at your score screen. So Antari's Scorpions brought the 2 Oxides, 2 BJ3s. G-Man and the Magician were in
Not
Blackjack.
Surprise there. Yep, the Blackjack is arguably the best mech, at least tonnage-wise, in the game. So I can't blame them for taking it.
Absolutely. So, Crimson Strait, Antari Scorpions Team 1, SJR Team 2. Now, this is important to note, that Drop 3 is going to be the first conquest that we've seen for the MRBC rule set. So, I don't see necessarily an island standoff or anything like that. But what we have seen, and what we saw during the Night Scorn versus Isengrim 12v12 match, is kind of a standoff in water in the open, playing that power position, guarding Theta, and by guarding Theta, you have access to the shoreline to get 3 different points total. You know, you can hang out in the middle, you're taking them away from the far right point, and you can rotate if needed to the far left point and maintain that 3 cap from water without committing into brawl range. It'll be interesting to see if we see something like that again.
Yeah, and I was going to say this almost would be the map that you would see a ranged deck be viable, but with Conquest, I'm not sure it can be, just because you don't want to get out-capped, and if you go to those cap points and you run into a brawl deck and you're running a ranged deck, what are you going to do? You know, at the same time, I think the island, the water does allow for a ranged deck to be very effective, so it's going to be an interesting thing to see how the drop commanders approach this. And it's kind of one of the fun things about watching comp play, right, is that there's a lot of preparation, especially at the high levels, that goes into just figuring out what mechs you're going to bring, what strategy you're going to play, and then with a competition like MRBC, where you have to choose different chassis, you can only have 1 duplicate, other restrictions that might apply, you know, having a commander mech, trying to figure out how to work that into it as well, just kind of adds a little bit extra to that strategy before the game. And we have seen it before where you could argue that games are won and lost before you even drop.
Absolutely. So it looks to me like Antari Scorpions is going to be starting factory side and SJR is going to be starting island side. So I wouldn't be surprised to see another brawl deck out of Antari Scorpions here.
Yeah.
However, maybe they will anticipate a ranged and or mid-range deck from SJR in that water or something like that. I think that's really going to be the position we see the most on Conquest, is some sort of water overlooking Theta, and we'll see if that's what happens here. However, you know, I think that water strat could be completely shredded by ER large lasers sitting back in, you know, the B4 across side tunnel, you know, past side tunnel. From that position, you can at least get them to rotate away from that water really, really fast and maybe take up residence under the deck or something. If they're rolling large pulse lasers and Antari Scorpions has ER larges, you know, you might see a drastic change in positioning very quickly. But we've been seeing brawl out of AS so far. It's been working for them clearly, so we might see that again. But if they want to throw a curveball, especially since this is a scrimmage, this is kind of where you want to throw curveballs, see what works and what doesn't.
And I think I like that Bravo 4 strat because you know the other thing it does in Conquest is it gives you quick access to 2 cap points in addition to the one that you already got. Could be a very powerful position that we see on Crimson Strait for this sort of game mode in this environment.
Absolutely. So let's get in here and take a look at what we have to offer. So I'm over on the entire Scorpion side. I am seeing ER Larges and Goss from a Dragon Slayer. Woo! Haven't seen a Dragon Slayer in comp in a long time. Long time.
That's really interesting. I'm seeing a lot of large pulse, large lasers. There's the ER large on the quick draw.
ER large on the Centurion AL. Centurion AL. Now, I don't want to say that that's an interesting choice because I'm sure that these guys know something that I don't. I will give them the benefit of the doubt there. But something must have happened to Centurions to make that a viable mech again. I haven't seen a Centurion used effectively in comp in quite some time, and they brought it, and I'm excited to see what that Centurion can do on the battlefield. So what do we got over on the SJR side?
You know what? They've got a little bit of a mix here. They've actually got a quick draw 5K Railza who's just actually heading to the island with the ER large lasers. The rest of them are large pulse and some blackjacks. They have 2 blackjack 1Xs with medium lasers, the standard medium laser, medium pulse build, and a little bit more of a mid-range to short-range poke build. It looks like Railza's going to have some Overwatch here on the far Bravo Alpha line here, and I think he might have a little bit of visibility on some mechs moving towards Epsilon, but I don't know if he's detected them yet.
So it looks like Antari Scorpions is moving around towards Epsilon, around that island there, staying in their range. I have a feeling they know where each other are.
Detection. He just opened fire on those guys moving towards the island.
Gotcha.
sorry,
So
correction,
they
Epsilon.
know at the very least SGR knows where Antari Scorpions is.
And there they go. Antari Scorpions just opened fire on Rouza, and he has to get out of there. He is desperately outnumbered at this point.
Antari Scorpions does know that
But if he can
SGR
keep
is
their
on
attention-
Theta right now.
Yeah, if he can keep their attention, I don't know if Antari Scorpions has an understanding of the full loadout and what SJR is trying to do. Honestly, I'd like to see SJR press this advantage a little bit. They have Antari Scorpions trapped up in Bravo 2, Bravo 1.
At the same token, this is Conquest, and they have 3 cap. Why they don't need to go anywhere. They just need to maintain. You know, Antari Scorpions knows where SJR is. SJR knows where Antari Scorpions is, and Antari Scorpions cannot maintain this present position for much longer. Well, I shouldn't say for much longer. It could be for a little bit here. But they can't stay here through the duration of the match. It's just not going to work. So what are these guys going to do to try and take Theta back or try to push people off the island? Ruza in a quick draw, that is a very fast heavy mech. He can get out of there if need be. If they push island to run him down, he can be out and probably not take much of a scratch at all. SJR is starting to move up towards Epsilon. Well, Antari Scorpions is pushing the island. So we're going to see an SJR rotation into the city to start getting some fire on AS as they move across the water. I'm not sure if this is the best strat for AS here. I mean, they're not working towards a cap. And as predicted, the SJR mechs on island are getting the hell out of there, and they're doing it fast. I don't think that AS is going to actually kill anything on island here, and they're going to continue to take scratch damage from Theta. This movement, I don't know if it's going to help them in the long run here.
Yeah, it's certainly not from the Conquest standpoint it will. The only thing that I can think that it does give them a little bit of an advantage is they get some longer time to trade where they have the range advantage. I mean, at this point, I think there are individual range mechs that SJR has brought, but the majority or the average of their team does not have the same range that AS has. So for now, I think it's in their best interest to take advantage of that range. And it looks like they have caught the Timberwolf out on the open a little bit, and he is getting
he got
down.
Completely shredded down. Cornite and the Timberwolf got a little bit too greedy over there at Theta and got completely shredded down. AS is now balling up, using the moving power position and closing the gap on SJR. They have decided enough is enough. We've got our first mech. It's time to close this up before too many tickets tick away. And here we go into the medium range brawl. And they got SJR's back right now. Some of them have turned, some are backing around the corner, and they're going to put that fire onto that Eben Jag and do some massive damage there. That Blackjack just got shredded in the back, completely shredded.
Blackjack goes down. This is not happening the way that I predicted it.
Absolutely not.
SJR has the range advantage, but they're running away. They're disengaging from a brawling range deck. I don't know if this is
and they're getting
the way
siphoned through the buildings now. Antari Scorpions is kind of siphoning through the buildings at this point, and SJR is moving out into the water, but they're already down 2 mechs. 2 AS mechs are incredibly damaged. It's tough to get those shots in past teammates. They really need to kind of spread out and get away from those buildings to seal the deal. But in the meantime, though, the ones that do have access are definitely putting their shots on target. And that was definitely unexpected. And Bradley goes down in the Hellbringer. He got a little bit caught out crossing the road. But 2 more SJR mechs go down.
Yeah.
Now they're focusing on the Eben Jag. He goes down as well. The remaining 3 SJR mechs are very, very damaged here. And Antari Scorpions is moving up to seal the deal. Tickets heavily in favor of SJR. Now, here's something interesting. We got a runner. They are playing the cap game. 560 tickets and counting. SJR has scattered. Antari Scorpions is going to run up and take Theta as quickly as possible. However, SJR has 4 caps on them, and they're going to move and take Gamma. So these the emphasis now is on speed. Can Antari Scorpions get up and take Kappa, and I'm pretty sure at least Kappa, Epsilon, and probably at this point Sigma as well, or they're going to lose to Caps. And that's a very, very strong possibility. They don't have any light mechs on this at all. Whoever got that fourth cap
is Blackjack.
I think somebody snuck Epsilon, and that was a genius move to sneak Epsilon like that, because that rolled the 4 cap. AS was trying to seal the deal, and now it's dawning on them that somebody is getting out. And that was well played by SJR. Well played.
Back here, we have... This is the Magician in the Thunderbolt. He is sitting on the only remaining cap or what was the only remaining cap. He is sitting on Gamma.
But we do have Pie Maker down in the water, and he might be waiting for enough time to pass to go sneak Epsilon last minute. Now, the game is not over. He's getting Gamma, and Sigma has a ways to go, so it's going to be close. That would be the dagger if he can sneak Epsilon and at the very least neutralize it.
Epsilon, that I think this game is over. I agree with you.
And they are all moving to Gamma. They know he's there. They're heading for Sigma now. Gamma is going to be dead very shortly. He's going to get it killed. There's no way he can escape at this point. Hopefully somebody has a thought. Maybe he might run Epsilon. And the time is now. Like, if he looks water, he might see this mech powered down here. Oh, he's not even powered down. Oh, if he looks back... 724. Sigma's about to switch over.
And I think they're so committed at this point. I don't think they have the time. They did not know.
They're not getting Gamma in time. There's no way they can get Gamma at this point. This is going to be an SJR Conquest win. Well played.
Maker is going to sit here, live through the game, and win it for SJR.
Yep. I mean, that guy walking down water, all he had to do was take one look backwards down that shoreline, and he would have saw him. What a turn of events! I mean, if this was skirmish, this would have been another AS win. But this is our first Conquest map, and SJR played the objective very well. Mad props to them. And AS is going to come away learning something here that they might have 2 mechs remaining, and you have 5 or 6, but that game ain't over until it's over. So victory goes to Steel Jaguar in drop 3.
Yeah, taking a look at the damage output here, decent damage spread across the board for SJR. They had Cornheight in the Timberwolf just, I think, got a little bit caught out. I'm not sure exactly what happened, whether he was trying to get a cap finished off or not. And Glory, obviously, running an XL Blackjack, I think just was, unfortunately, a XL check victim there. But just a lot of damage across the board for AS to wind up losing, but that's the added level of strategy that comes out of Conquest. It's not good enough to just try and finish off the game by chasing down those last couple stragglers. Those last couple stragglers still have a trump card as long as the drop caller plays it correctly, and obviously SJR used that to their advantage, knowing that. But I think SJR will go back and look at that film and be like, we were running a shorter range deck than they were. We had the Blackjacks, we had some large pulse lasers, they were running large lasers. AS brawled them and smashed them in a brawl. So I think what wound up happening there was a little bit of confusion on SJR's part during that engagement. We saw a lot of mechs kind of still trying to maneuver around buildings, maybe had their back to AS when they came around. It just didn't seem like they were ready for a push. And that's strange to me with the deck that they were running. Clearly, they had the advantage in a closer range engagement just by a deck. But AS they took the initiative and just unfortunately they kind of lost track, I think, of the caps, and it cost them the game.
Absolutely, and I was seeing that too as SJR was filtering through the buildings. They're kind of walking in a straight line to get through those, and they can't return fire or can't have any sort of covering fire while they're transitioning like that. So they did take an excessive amount of damage, and ultimately that did, I think, influence the kill disparity that we saw. I gave a lot of criticisms to AS push to island there, but they had the range and they morphed it from a just straight up brawl rush to island into a power position maneuver, keeping their guns to bear the entire time. So they were out in the open and they were playing against the whack-a-mole, but they did a very good job returning that fire effectively anytime somebody peeked. And that was huge because then they could curve back in and make their shots at closer range on retreating SJR mechs. But I want to see when SJR sent somebody over to cap that peninsula, because I think that is a huge not necessarily turning point, but that cap alone cost AS a ton. And it was a genius call by probably Magician to escape like that, and that was huge. And not only just escape together, but hide somebody to make sure that even though he was going to cap, they didn't go together, and they kept that one mech alive to the end. In terms of scoring, in Conquest for MRBC this season, the winner, no matter what, will get 300,000 C-bills, not counting any of the bonuses for killing the victor or anything like that. That gets added on. But there's no per kill bonus. It's just all rolled up into a 300,000 C-bill win. However, Antari Scorpions did kill, I think, seven mechs. So they're going to come away with, they don't get the bonus for the win or anything, but they do still come away with 175,000 C-bills. So even though it was a loss for them, that was a minor loss, I would say.
Yeah.
Coming away with over 50% of the potential C-bills from this match.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier on in the stream, with MRBC, the real objective, while winning the games obviously is how you accomplish this, the real objective in terms of division standings is C-bills, and that's the C-bills based off the rewards that you get for winning games, for getting mech kills, for killing the commander, and various other things during these matches. So for AS, certainly you want to win the game, but at the very least, if you're going to lose to Caps, they managed to be up significantly on kills. They got the victor down. I believe their victor actually lived through the game. Did you see that at the end, or can you go back and take a look at the replay and make sure to see if that victor won? But either way, you're right. It's a loss. It's unfortunate. It's not as bad, nearly as bad as it could have been for AS. So, both teams kind of took what was a tough advantage. I mean, SJR obviously losing in a brawl, losing the majority of their mechs, was at a disadvantage, and they took that to take advantage of their strategy to get Conquest and get the win. AS, on the other hand, they lost the Caps, but they managed to get 7 of the kills. So while they didn't get the wins on kills, they at least managed to get just about as many C-bills as you can get out of a loss.
Watching the replay now, we are at the 4 caps, so somebody did get Epsilon there. And AS is on the hunt. It'd be interesting to see exactly when it dawned on them that, hey, caps are a problem, when they come around the corner expecting to kill 2 more mechs and get the victory, and they're not there.
Yeah.
It kind of gives you a sinking feeling a little bit, that you've got to chase and you have no lights on this drop. So if this is going to work on any drop, it's definitely going to work on this one, with the lack of lights, for sure.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that probably hurts some feelings tomorrow, AS, if you watch this stream again and you see how close, I believe it was the Enforcer that walked right by the last remaining SJR mech.
I mean, it would have been hard to see him. It would have been hard to see him, but somebody had to check the water. If you got everybody kind of searching all over the place, now everybody's pretty hurt, so you don't want a 1v1 if you can help it, but somebody had to check water, and unfortunately, that was a good position for him. He might not have even been seen if they got right up to the edge. They might have had to take it out into water to see, but good
even
spot
just
for
the
him.
knowledge that you were 100 meters from finding the last guy.
Absolutely.
Even if certainly probably from where they were, even at the edge, couldn't see the person. Just knowing after the fact, you walked right by him. If you had found him, it didn't matter what the caps were. You could have won anyway. But that's sometimes that's how it goes. I think, like I said, it was about as best as you could ask for if you're AS from a loss. So at least they have that.
Absolutely. So since that was drop 3, let's go ahead and do another raffle. Go ahead and type !raffle into chat for a chance at a premium time code. I'll also put that into chat shortly here to try and synchronize it with what you're hearing right now. But go ahead and put that in there, and then we'll try and do the drawing before the next drop if possible. And hopefully we get a good winner.
A good winner, not a bad
winner. Yeah. You know, I was saying Pie Maker could have run for that point. Obviously, he didn't need to do it. The timing was right. Best for him to stay hidden. He could have, there wasn't a single AS mech in the region, and they wouldn't have gotten there in time anyways. But who knows? Maybe AS would have left a guy sitting there just in case. He was very injured. Not worth the risk, and staying put definitely worked out in his favor. So looking at the kill screen right now, the Victor did stay alive for Atari Scorpions, so they do get the 50,000 bonus. So instead of just coming away with 175,000 C-bills, they will come away with 225, while their opponent, who won the match, gets 300,000. So don't want to downplay a victory. Very well played by SJR, but AS did their due diligence and got quite a few kills and was able to come away with just a minor defeat. So next drop, we're going into Tourmaline Desert. Drop 4. That apparently didn't save. Drop
so this
4.
is another interesting situation, right? Tourmaline Desert, I think, is a map that you usually find range built in. But again, you got to keep an eye on that cap. We saw it just this past match. You know, a range deck can get all the kills in the world. If you don't get that last kill and you don't keep an eye on the caps, you lose. So I think if I had to predict what would happen, I think we're going to see 2 range decks, maybe some more mobile mechs, at least from what we can find. We do have 2 lights on this drop.
2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
So
1 duplicate.
You could bring range decks and assume that your lights will be able to do enough of a job of getting the caps done. But it's tough to say, and I'm not sure what the best strategy is, but that's why we do these scrims beforehand. People can kind of figure it out, find out what might work best, what might not work, and we'll have to see how they play it out.
Absolutely. What do you think we're gonna see for duplicates here? I mean, it's hard to say that with the 2-2-2-2, you're gonna see all kinds of different mechs, but you know, I don't know if we're gonna see Brawl. Brawl could still work on Tourmaline, even though it is Prairie Open. We saw some interesting tactics used in the Isengrim versus Nightscorn match. That was the one where I called it as pretty much being one of the most interesting drop caller victories in quite some time. With their immediate taking of Theta and then backing off and baiting Isengrim in, swooping around the flank with their light. Now, they did have 4 lights on that one, but swooping around the flank and then sweeping in from 2 different directions to defeat him. This is an 8v8, so it's harder to have those little flanking wolf packs and things like that. A lot longer survivability in a situation like that, but we could see some sneaky tactics used here, especially on Conquest.
Yeah, and I definitely think if you are going to go Brawl, you have to force the fight somehow to be at Theta. You need to capture 2 spawn points plus Theta, and that way you're up 3-2 on caps at the very least, and you basically say, you know, come get us, and then you make the fight be over Theta. And at that point, in a Brawl, you take your chances, whether the enemy team's running a Brawl, or especially if they're running a range, then you're kind of licking your chops there, right? You're ready to go. But it'll be interesting to say. I don't know if that's what we're going to see, but maybe. You know, and as for the duplicates, if history is anything, we're going to see 2 Oxides at Atari Scorpions. But you know, maybe they've got their Oxide fill in the first 2 drops. I don't know.
And it looks like we are getting ready, and we're going to be heading in shortly here. So let's go take a look. Hopefully you guys like my little change in in-game overlay here. I thought it was kind of slick being able to integrate the PGI overlay into my own. I plan on expanding on that, but this is what I was able to do in just a couple hours. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy the fact that it's no longer covering up the Conquest bar, which is always nice. Come on. I wish tab worked immediately again. because it's
Yeah.
nice to see the mech list.
Be
But
nice
at the
thing
very
to have.
least, I can do this. We're looking at Antari Scorpions right now. ER large, large pulse Gauss, ER large Stalker 3H. Antari Scorpions going for the hard range deck. Why is tab still not working? Are you?
We actually have a disconnect, it looks like, here.
Oh, okay. So we're waiting the full 80 seconds or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the meantime, ER largest for Antari Scorpions. Let's go take a look over at SJR.
So I've managed to completely bug my spectator.
ER
view.
large,
That's kind of exciting.
ER large, Grasshopper, 5 ER large, 1 medium laser. We are going to have ourselves a poke war. That's interesting because I think, we have medium laser, medium pulse, magician, blackjack, so a little bit of a mixed deck. Small pulse laser, cheetah, medium laser, medium pulse laser, blackjack. I think we're going to see an immediate war over Theta. Do you see from the Antari Scorpion side a mixed deck as well? Do you see those medium pulses, or did they go pure ER large?
Let me take a look at what they're running here. We've got...
On Conquest, these two spawns will potentially
large,
immediately start firing at each other.
Seeing large laser
Oh,
Bravos.
they're waiting.
They're waiting on the disconnect. I'm
disconnect.
seeing a lot of ER larges. Timberwolf with ER large Gauss rifles, or is that large pulse? It's large pulse Gauss rifle. And guess what duplicate mechs they are running?
General Oxide.
Yep, 2 oxides. AS really does enjoy
And
those oxides,
two,
so let's see how
two
it plays.
blackjacks on the SJR side. So it looks to me like because this is a scrimmage, they are going to just wait for the disconnect to show up. However, who's dancing? Gut. However, in MRBC rule sets, there will be a mulligan and a redrop in that instance, because they don't want to have to bother with, oh, they moved or anything like that. You just straight up redrop.
So, what do you think the initial movement's going to be here? You think both teams are going to make a play for Epsilon?
I
Both
think
spawned in that close lance.
this far left lance is going to immediately fire along this firing line towards the opposite lance. Both of them have their ER larges, so we're going to see some immediate fire along this corridor here to this lance. These guys have the advantage of kind of spreading down a little bit if AS moves too far up, or if SJR moves too far up. But most of the fighting, I think, will be along this right here. And we saw this kind of gameplay going on.
Oh, it looks like they're going to go for a redrop.
They are going to go for the redrop. Okay, so they are killing each other. But, we saw this in our last little private lobbies, practice that we did, is a lot of fighting. Because it's you almost have to fight there, because this team over here in red, if they try to retreat back to hoop, they're going to take fire the whole way down. Like, they can't retreat from that position without taking something in return. So, they can do it, and they can probably get away with mostly scratches. But I see more often than not an intense firefight along this corridor. Everybody kind of running an echelon formation, firing past each other, dumping it off as hard as they can, while the rest of the team worries about Theta and the other caps.
Yeah, and
Looks like Jurassic was the disconnect.
it'll be interesting to see if they change their strategy any. I doubt it, but we might get something good.
So, reiterate for me, you saw the 2 oxides, of course, but
2 oxides. The rest were basically ER larges, except for a Timberwolf with large pulse and Gauss.
Okay.
So, definitely a range versus range build. And
However, definitely, they have at the very least, the mediums with the pulses and Gauss and stuff like that. They do have some reach with the Gauss, but it'll be interesting to see. Do the dual blackjack brawler builds, just under medium range brawler builds, can those make a difference with the fight over Theta? You've got that large battle happening over on the left side, and I think that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen no matter what, in some form, either a tactical withdrawal or a straight up firefight, and that's going to be going on for a while until somebody takes too much heat and decides to pull back. While that's happening, you've got 4 other mechs fighting each other. mostly without help from their teammates, because if they get help from their teammates, that pulls them off that firing line, and the battle can tip in one direction or the other. So I feel like we would see those two medium laser, medium pulse blackjacks making a good difference if they can close in on Theta against the Timberwolf and Oxides. What was the fourth mech? Do you recall?
My memory's not that good.
Let me see if your replays got it here.
I might have dropped out of the replay quickly. I had all sorts of funky problems on my replay that time.
Enforcer 4R. So they got the Battle, Timber, Quick Draw, Stalker. Then they got the Enforcer 4R, Timberwolf, 2 Oxides. The 4R is probably running in ER large, though. So they went heavier on the ERs.
Yeah, I think they were basically straight ERs across the board, except for the Oxides and the Timberwolf, if I remember correctly.
Well, it looks like both teams are getting ready right away. They haven't seen any major drop deck changes, which is fine. It's a scrimmage. I didn't expect them to. But here we go. Let's see if it plays out the way that I thought. Immediate ER large firing line, followed by a 4v4 brawl at Theta. Let's see what happens.
And it looks like we've got the same drop decks as predicted.
Yep. Let's go take a look. So this is the firing line I was talking about right here. I think we're going to see an immediate march up to the hill. These guys have the advantage of being able to spread a little bit more. You don't have to have everybody hiding behind the same rock, but here we go. Bam. First immediate hits go right into the quick draw. Really good shots from SJR. They didn't have as long... Oh, boy, that Timber's ballsy coming over to the right side here. He's trying to get probably into some sort of distance firing line, something to do with the Gauss. But, yep, that firing line is going on. We have an immediate push onto Theta from SJR from their fire starter and Arctic Cheetah. Will they have an answer from
I would love to see
Antari
SJR
Scorpions?
push hard on these guys. Antari Scorpions rolled the whole way over to that firing line.
So they are getting all of their ERs to bear. And they sent their Oxides across. Let's see what these two Oxides are able to do. You know, SJR is not going to be firing on the ER large range anymore with those Oxides bearing down on them, but they are taking defensive positions, backing away from the Oxides, getting some really good fire on them, and power position movement from Antari Scorpions with their ERs shooting from this angle into Theta, but they still obviously don't have it capped. So that is going to still be a concern. Blackjack dropping into pit. Will they step up and take the shot? That's pretty dangerous to do that, so they are going to instead roll around the right side.
Yeah, and here comes Antari Scorpions just pushing right into them.
So far, there's been quite a bit of damage done to both sides. That Oxide just took a big hit, and he does go down. SJR is doing a very good job keeping their fire focused on anything that they can. They do have some guys trapped down in pit, and they are starting to actually spread out a little bit. They lost their Grasshopper, and the Battlemaster goes down, and the Stalker's not doing too well either. Those guys that drop down in pit in front of them aren't able to help them out. So that's 3 dead for SJR. Well, the Lights tried to climb up around the backside, and these guys kind of hid down here on the ramp. They weren't effectively helping the rest of their team, and Antari Scorpions doing a very good job shredding them down at this point. You know, you still have the Lights to contend with, and they did manage to take down that Stalker over here.
Those lights might have just evened it up a little bit for SJR, because that Stalker was ripping SJR to shreds. He was just sitting on the other side of that canyon, just tearing into them, and he was able to. Those lights were able to get on him, kill him quick enough that they were able to kind of reduce some of that damage.
So there's 4 incredibly hurt mechs left for Antari Scorpions. We are down to the 2 lights for SJR. SJR has their light right here on my camera. The other one is down in the pit. They could still pull this off if they can keep themselves alive. They are both very healthy now.
Yeah, these are healthy Arctic Cheetah, and what's that? The Fire Starter.
Absolutely. So they are going to kind of play the cap game, it seems, but Antari Scorpions taking this opportunity to spread out, try and get some good distance so they can't get jumped on. Oh, and we do have a legged mech over here. The Fire Starter tweak in. The Fire Starter does get legged, and he is going to get shredded down. So we will be down to just the Arctic Cheetah left. Good shot by that Antari Scorpions mech to take him out. The Cheetah is moving up, and he does get a quick, easy kill on that guy. What was he?
Overlay.
Oh, son of a bitch. Sorry, guys. Big failure on my part. I hope you enjoy the radio show. Son of a bitch. Alright, well, we will at the very least have the instant replay from MD's perspective to show you guys. Damn!
Yeah. While you were talking here, it looks like SJR has their Arctic Cheetah going to play the cap game. He is going to Theta. Both AS mechs that are remaining right now, which is the Enforcer and the Blackjack, are going to... Or, sorry, SJR is going to Kappa. The Enforcer and Blackjack are going to Theta. They're going to stick together here, which is the right thing to do against a fresh Arctic Cheetah. Let's take a look and see what their status is here. I think, yeah, the Enforcer's Cord CT, and the Blackjack has actually got armor available basically across the board. He's red armor in his CT, but the rest of him doing all right so far.
Yeah, CT Cord Enforcer, huh?
And I think at this point, SJR is again going to play the cap game. They don't want anything to do with trying to take two mechs relatively fresh with a single Arctic Cheetah. So that Cheetah is going around. Looks like he's headed to Gamma.
Yep, there he
and
goes.
They're just going to try and stay up on caps.
This could still definitely go SJR's way, though. I mean, these guys have to stay together. They're both CT Cord. They're going to roll to points together. So instead of splitting up, they're taking 1 point at a time. At the same time, a faster mech is taking 1 point at a time, accelerated. And that could still work in favor of SJR. As long as this guy keeps it up and doesn't go off and get legged,
yep,
he can roll the cap game. If I was Atari Scorpions, and I know it's not advisable from a combat perspective, they're going to need to split up, because they can't afford to keep giving up points like this. Now, one thing to take note, they are capping together, so they are capping at an accelerated rate compared to the Arctic Cheetah. That could still definitely work for them, but they're slower. The
and
Cheetah can get to points quicker.
It looks like they might be splitting up at this point. We've got... no, they're kind of correcting their courses here. Maybe
they're heading to Sigma. Maybe one might be overwatching Theta.
Yeah, it looks like the Enforcer is heading to Sigma, and yeah, the Blackjack is splitting up, heading in the direction of Theta, so they must have listened to you, Bandit, because they are splitting up at this point.
I kind of feel like you're going to need to. I mean, you have the accelerated caps, but that's only buying you a few seconds on the Arctic Cheetah, and the Arctic Cheetah makes up those few seconds with his speed. I mean, these aren't slow as hell mechs. I mean, medium Blackjack has some speed to him, but... how long can you sustain that? And at some point, with a guy overwatching Theta, he might be able to take some of those sneak shots in to seal the deal.
I don't think that Blackjack's going for Overwatch. It looks like he's headed to Epsilon.
To Epsi, and they're going to slam into each other. Okay.
They're going to find each other at this point, unless this Blackjack slows down, and it looks like, okay, maybe he is going to hold the ring instead, try and just get some Overwatch position. Let's see what he's looking at.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Maintaining Theta is going to be important for a win here. Son of a bitch.
I'm seeing the Warren Horn quest already, Bandit. I am all for it. And this Blackjack is continuing on to Epsilon. I really want to know who's going to see each other first. He's got to know at this point that...
well, they all know where he is now, because it is flashing. Epsilon is flashing, so here comes the shots. Let's see if he can get some good hits on target. Oh, but he drops over the edge. No, you had vision.
He took himself out. He had it.
Oh, the Cheetah is going to challenge him, and he is going to close the gap, so we're going to have a ER Large versus... that was ER Large, right?
Yes.
Blackjack 3
no,
versus
sorry,
Arctic Cheetah. Large lasers? Okay.
Large,
so small pulse versus large. Let's see what happens here. Let me see if I can get my mouse on the Cheetah.
CT. The Blackjack is already cored CT, both rear and front, and he is just getting torn apart.
Cheetah is doing really well. Like, he is doing all right here. This is gonna probably go to Uncle Russ. The whole time this is happening, though, AS is at 3 caps, so they can catch up.
One more shot and this Blackjack goes down, but he did open up the leg on the Cheetah.
They can gain some ground here. He does have Epsilon, but, if he goes for Theta, he might end up in another 1v1. So just
Looks
trying
like
to loosely
like
do the
Enforcer's
math.
going for Theta as well.
Loosely trying to do the math. Will 3 caps catch up to SJR's progress so far?
You know what? I'm not very good at math, but I
You're
think
a rocket scientist.
It's a different thing.
I
Just
would
going
say
around behind Theta, he might be trying to go to Kappa, I think, and
he
that
just
might be
needs
the
to
right thing
maintain
to
a
go.
point. You know, that Enforcer is way slower than the Arctic Cheetah.
And that Enforcer is heading in the direction of Epsilon. They're not happy with 3 caps. They want to make sure that they have the win here.
I feel like
it's
this
really
is
a
going to go to
matter of
SJR at this point. Just looking at the tickets rolling in and stuff, I don't think it was enough. I definitely don't. I think they would need to 4 cap at this point to take it. So as long as this Cheetah can stay out of combat, which was a very good, smart decision to go to Kappa instead of Theta, that shows the danger in Conquest of leaving a light alive. So down to 7 kills apiece, and the Conquest win going towards SJR. Very hard played.
Gotten on the cap point, so
they're seeing the flashing at Kappa across the map, and that Enforcer's got to be definitely sad right now because he's not anywhere near this mech. So all he's got to do is turn it, and it's over. The whole time those 2 points are yellowed, I mean, the tickets are still ticking. He does get Kappa before Epsilon gets taken, and that's just going to further seal the deal. Yep. So, well played by both sides. Well played by both sides. This is kind of when there's a lot of dead mechs on the field. This is kind of what you're going to see in Conquest. It's still thrilling to see how they play it out. But at least mechs are moving and not just standing still, that's for sure. And, you know, in that situation with 2 cored out Blackjacks, what do you think that they could have done against an Arctic Cheetah who's got speed on him? Maybe stay together, go to Theta, and try and cut them off?
Yeah, I think the only other thing they could have tried to do is try and play the central parts of the map, use your range, try and just get lucky and see him running across the edges of the map and get some good shots. And unfortunately, it's a tough situation to be in. Like you said, you really can't afford to leave a light alive in Conquest.
This is a hell of a lot closer than I originally said. I still think it's going to go to SJR because of this immediate cap on Sigma, but that went a lot quicker than I initially... Oh, and Sigma was an instant neutral, too. Yep. That went a lot faster than I originally calculated. My goodness, that is freaking close. So I'm going to have to keep that in mind for my quick math going forward. This one ended up being 14 tickets apart at the end. Oof. Holy cow.
Very close.
Well played by the Arctic Cheetah. He had to take out that other Blackjack, and he did very well. So 300,000 C-bills awarded. I feel like frickin' Hogwarts, whatever. I was trying to be funny. But 300,000 C-bills awarded to SJR for the cap win. Full C-bills because it was a cap win. And so it's as if it was eight mechs dead. And once again, for Antari Scorpions, they get the loss, but they killed 7 mechs. No bonus here, but it is still another 175,000 C-bills in their favor. So, at the very least, if they had any other opponents in their division, those opponents are looking at this and saying, God, now both teams are going to be rich. Yep. And we're going to have to, that makes it that much harder to beat them because you've got to have, perfect games against them and stuff. So... Sorry, everybody, for the overlay there. I had to wait to be told by my wife. Thank you for letting the chat know and letting her know. But, damn. So let's go look at some of the combat here.
Shout out to Uncle Russ there. My apologies. With 4 kills, killed half the enemy team by himself. Admittedly, he was the last mech alive for SJR, but, he can at least pat himself on the back for that accomplishment.
He doesn't get your medal, though? Your super-duper MD
give
medal?
Out invisible medals for scrimmages, I think that just devalues the worth of owning an invisible medal. I think there's only been 5 given out at this point, so those 5 honorees would probably be pretty upset if I just started handing them out in matches that don't matter.
Definitely. So I'm going back all the way back to the initial combat that we saw here. As predicted, you had the ER large laser battle across that gap. But what was not anticipated by me at the beginning was that AS was not going to immediately fight over Theta. They brought all of their ER large to bear. They brought their oxides right to the front and slammed into that lance. Not a bad move. Because they knew there was only nice 4 mechs there. SJR. You know, if SJR was bringing the rest of their mechs across the gap, they were going to take fire from the ER large lasers of AS on that corner. So they knew, or at the very least had vision, that those 4 mechs did not have any reinforcements at the beginning. So they decided to make the push, and they charged across. So, SJR was doing a pretty good job at the beginning of getting their ER larges on those oxides. They punished AS pretty damn well, especially for splitting up. However, we saw an SJR kind of split up. We had some guys down in the pit not getting their shots to bear, or at least were playing a little bit of a poke game from below. While that was happening, those last couple mechs out in the field were getting completely shredded by the range team for AS, and we saw things swing drastically in favor of AS there. But that Arctic Cheetah then, he went down, got that stalker, went over, finished off the oxide. He did some work, and that's Uncle Russ there, not only playing the cap game very well, but tipped the battle in favor. The Firestarter was moving off to also play the cap game, and thank you, Autumn, for that little quote there. But, the Firestarter was going to go opposite, and that would have been even better, I think, for SJR to have 2 lights in the field versus 2 mediums. However, he did get lagged by some surefire from the AS group there. They did a good job finishing him off, bringing it down to just the Arctic Cheetah. But the only mechs left were the 3. Oh, yeah, because then the Cheetah comes out of the pit and then scores a quick kill over here. So while those 2 chased down the Firestarter, the other guy was not with the rest of his team, and he managed to finish off the quick draw, bringing it into a 1v2 situation.
Yeah, and I think something that can't be overstated, sure, in the beginning of that match is that first oxide that came around the corner. He got beat up, and then he came around a second time and was just destroyed. I mean, every component, it seemed like, was blown off of his oxide in one shot. Losing that mech, that one of your 2 light mechs that early on, basically the first mech to go down for AS, and then the other one was also pretty beat up from that initial push. I almost wonder, looking back at this kind of in retrospect, whether you would want to bring a mech like a Raven or, a light with a little more range to it and kind of keep those lights hanging in the back because they're so important. They're almost like your reserve force to prevent you from losing the caps. As we just saw, even though AS had the numbers game at the end of that match, losing the light mechs lost them the game. So I'm curious to see whether teams maybe consider that to be part of their strategy. Then unfortunately you have a hard time dealing with brawling lights unless you're, very good coordination, focus fire. But at the same time, having ranged lights and maybe not putting as much risk, putting them in as much risk might allow you to make up for any mistakes made or just a disadvantage at the end in a cap game. So that's something I think I'll be interested to see as we kind of get into the season and see how people play it out and what they come up with.
So, I mean, I was quick to criticize the Blackjacks rolling together at the beginning, but I honestly see why they were doing it. And the 1v1 versus that Cheetah with the large lasers went quickly and smoothly in favor of the Arctic Cheetah. They almost had to work together to try and kill him. Because if they had split up to win the cap game, I think the Arctic Cheetah probably would have dispatched both of them, or it would have been a 1v1 much longer than it turned out to be here. I don't think the Blackjack or the Enforcer would have been able to take the Arctic Cheetah effectively down unless they had a miracle shot or were able to position themselves to catch him in transition. Maybe that's what they needed to do. Instead of just it was so close, though. It was so close that, oh, man, like, they intercepted each other on that point, and the Blackjack lost. It's almost like maybe if the Blackjack went to a point where the Cheetah wasn't going to be at, they could have won it, because I can't believe how fast those points closed in on each other there.
And the other part of that, remember that Blackjack pushed to engagement. It took one step maybe too far and fell off the edge into the pit, where he only got one kind of glancing blow on that Arctic Cheetah at range, and then he fell into the pit, at which point, it was a close-in brawl, clearly favoring the fresher Arctic Cheetah. You almost wonder if he maybe just took one step too far and wanted to stay on the edge of that pit a little longer.
Yeah, I'm watching that. I think right now is where he had that shot while the Cheetah was sitting there on the point. And, you heard my voice. I felt like he didn't mean to do that, and it looked like he was struggling to try and stay up on there.
Yeah.
But he had the range, and after falling down, he had to commit to the brawl. And that is never a fun place to be. And the Arctic Cheetah had the heads-up play, knowing, large lasers versus my small pulse in this close range. He didn't run away. He went for it and had the confidence that he could take him out. This Blackjack wasn't even fully CT cored either. Oh, right there. Stay up. No. Oh, damn.
Yep, I think that's something that, maybe he could have only gotten one more
it
shot
might have
in.
been intentional, though. I mean, it looked like he was sliding, but it might have been just to protect his legs. Like, I kind of felt like he was desperate to stay up, but at the same token, he was on the hunt, and could have been just going in to finish it. But, the Cheetah did a good job staying behind him. Does get another hit on the Cheetah's legs there, but it's not going to be enough. Every time he turns in, his CT just gets wrecked. He's got one more shot that he can make here. One more. There it is, and that's going to be just about it.
Taking a look at our next drop here, as we've now just dropped for Mining Collective.
You should probably focus on that,
Get your overlay off, Bandit. Just
okay, it's off. I didn't even set up the teams here. So 2-2.
And I am seeing for AS a lot of large lasers and large pulse lasers. Looks like a poke deck. And for SJR, I am seeing SRMs, Brawling Timberwolves, Atlases.
2 Atlas S's. That's dangerous. Don't underestimate those Atlases.
Yeah, this is much more of a brawl deck out of AS. They do have a little bit of range. They have the Stalker 4N with 6.
You mean out of SJR? With the Atlases?
SJR. Did I say AS?
Yeah, those Atlases, man. This is going to be brutal.
Yeah, another kind of mixed poke brawl deck out of SJR, and those Atlases, I really want to see how they do against this. But they already have light mechs up at Theta. They're clearly trying to cap these points. But it looks like AS has also learned their lesson. They're going for the 3 cap to start off the game.
Yep, they sent one of their lights immediately off to Epsilon to get that started. So we got all of these brawlers sitting at Theta. This kind of reminds me of the SJR versus 228, with SJR holed up in the middle of Caldara on Caustic Valley. It didn't take much for them to decide to make their move, though.
And it looks like AS is trying to rotate a little bit away from where they suspect SJR is sitting. And really, SJR doesn't seem like they're doing too much. Although, let's see if this light mech cutting across. Is he going to get popped there?
He did take something.
He did get popped a little bit, and he has to be relaying that information to AS now.
Incoming.
Like they are turning. Yeah, they are turning to face, and I don't know if they want to do that. They have a little bit more range.
Well, here, those Atlases still have a ways to go to get fully into their effective range. Those missiles do have a bit of a travel time, but they are punishing that light mech, but then immediately turning, and that first Atlas is getting shredded.
Yes,
completely shredded.
But the first mech
it's
goes
so
down,
strong,
it is
though.
It is so tanky. Look at that
It is
Atlas.
so
still going.
tanky.
And he's going to use a little bit of cover now, just take some fire away.
If he
from
can
him.
allow that other Atlas to take point,
down.
that's going to draw this out even further. While this is happening, the Timberwolf kind of stepped up far to the left and is now drilling some stalkers with his SRM brawl deck. Doing a fantastic job. The Atlases have curved back around and are hitting him from the side. It's tough to get up this. You have to go through narrow ramps and stuff, but the first Atlas Magician does finally go down. He was the one that lived through 3 Antari Scorpion's deaths there. before finally going down in his Atlas. But his buddy here is fresh as hell and bringing it to him in close range. Here comes the hurt. That Atlas definitely hard made a brawler right there. I mean, who cares about speed when you've got that much firepower on point? And they brought it. They brought it big time. That hurt like hell. Got a little bit of a 1v1 over here, and Ghost does go down in his timber, but only 2 mechs remaining now for AS. They are converging on him very quickly, and this will be over shortly. Raven just trying to get a little bit of poke out there, but Mining Collective... Brawl. Oh my goodness.
With the meta changes, it's a little hard to do those range games. That's what we mentioned earlier on. We saw it in River City as well. You get just with those structure armor bonuses, you just get a little bit longer to approach a ranged deck. And on a map like Mining Collective, with all the cover they have, and with some of the smaller distances, they can cross that distance. Let's take a look here at the match scores. Jaeger with 574 in the Atlas S, and the Magician only 188 in that Atlas, but as you mentioned, stayed alive for an incredibly long time for being both the point man and the focus target for so long. And Quicksilver with 768 damage in the Banshee just absolutely crushed that receiving force for AS, and they couldn't match the damage output. We saw Radic with 580 in the Timberwolf. He was the best for AS, but just across the board, basically, you're looking at SJR with just 100 to 200 damage more by player. It just they were able to get within range, and AS did not have the cooldown or the heat to be able to fire just as much with as much firepower as SJR could with those brawl decks.
Those Atlases brought it, man. The amount of time it took to kill Magician before losing 3 mechs, that's just indicative of just how strong the Atlas is now with those structure bonus, and a very good job spreading. And at the same token, I mean, what was Magician's damage? Did he do some decent numbers?
He did 188.
Okay, so it's respectable though. He was tanking. He was doing his job.
Yeah.
Like, watch this. He's popping his shots, full alpha. Doesn't bother. No lasers on that mech anywhere. I think he might have just popped his teammate in the back there. I'm not sure. But he does lose 1 torso, but he still has that AC-20. And, you've got AS mechs getting killed there while he's tanking it.
Yeah, and he did another nice thing, I think, that I enjoy seeing is... Not only did he tank it, but then he also, once he closed with the enemy, basically once his team was now in range, he had done his job, essentially, which is to escort your team, right? And by escort your team, I mean you take all of the enemy fire while your team walks up behind you and gets in within range. And once he had done his job, he then kind of ducked a little bit out of cover for a second, just to kind of, break the focus a little bit of AS. He's the kill target, he's the kill target. All of a sudden, you can't target him. Now we got to find another kill target. Now we got to switch. We weren't able to kill that one. And I think doing that also is something that's just a very useful, valuable thing to do as when you're the focus target and you're leading the pack. And like I said, did a great job making sure that SJR was able to get right within brawl range without really taking any fire at all.
Absolutely. So very, very solid brawl and a good solid finish. I mean, that was definitely a change of pace. How many SJR brawls have we seen so far? Like brawl decks, drop 1, right?
Yeah,
that's it. So you go into it expecting to play the cap game after losing was it 2 cap games in a row on Conquest, and then bam, here's your brawl. Enjoy it.
And again, we talked about this earlier. I think the balance changes with the extra structure, extra armor, really have made range and brawling more situational, more dependent on the maps. Mining Collective, I think, is going to be one of those maps that you're going to see a ton of brawls on. There's just so much cover that you can approach with and things like that it really just, I think, gives you so much of an advantage to bring brawl mechs.
And their Banshee just brought the pain. Quicksilver, 768 damage in that Banshee.
Yeah.
And I'm really sure he was using those Atlases very well.
Well, like I said, I mean, sometimes when you're the focus target and you're in a mech like that, you're the escort. You're holding everyone's hand, getting them within the range that they need to be, and you really don't have the opportunity to pull the trigger hardly at all. But the longer you stay alive, the better you do your job. Getting everyone to where they need to be, and the Magician did that perfectly.
I'm loving all these puns in chat. Have you seen all these moderate pudding puns? That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. What if they were running Banshees, though, guys?
What if they were running Baller Banshees? I think they're going to bring Baller Banshees, guys.
I
So
feel bad for all the new Steam players that missed out on such a great opportunity for puns.
are they okay? They're not doing a 6th drop, are they?
Not that I see. No.
8v8 Urbies. 8v8 Urbies. Yeah.
I'm waiting for someone to do 8v8 Urbies as a 6th drop.
Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna go ahead, since that was drop 5. I'm gonna go ahead and do another raffle. Type exclamation point raffle into chat for a chance at a mech bay.
That lead Atlas really moderated the damage for the rest of the team. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is you
He
can't.
did a moderately good job of allowing that Banshee to get within range. That's certainly true.
Oh my goodness. Well, with those Atlases, especially with 2 of them, it's like, okay, well, what do you do?
That is so much alpha.
Do you leave them alone and go for the Banshee, like shoot them further back, try to get the Banshee? No, because then the Atlas is going to do 600 damage in brawl range. It's like, the only thing you can do is go for headshots or something.
You just gotta kill him faster. It's really,
or I guess the other thing you do is don't bring, large pulse. Was it large laser, large pulse, ER large? What did they bring? Like, what was the main deck for Atari Scorpions?
It was a large pulse.
I guess that poke deck, if you're not fully set up, I mean, they knew that those guys were coming over, but they must not been very comfortable with their position to be able, okay, Mighty Collective. Do you think a mid-range deck will work unless it plays another mid-range deck? Is this going to be the new Brawl King?
I have a hard time with all the cover we see, all the kind of different alleyways. I mean, Mighty Collective's basically laid out in a big grid with just alleyways down and cover in between in the grid spaces. I have a hard time seeing with the way the current balance is and the structure passes, especially if it's a drop 4 or 5 when you can bring those assault mechs, maybe on a lighter drop where you can kind of keep your distance from the enemy team. But even then, I think Mining Collective is going to be a brawl deck across the bat. But you know what? That's fine. We've got other decks that are more suited to range. We've got some decks that are suited to brawl, and you got 5 matches, so a lot of different things can happen.
Absolutely. So that was our demonstration of MRBC Season 7 rule set. I'm excited. I think this is going to be some good stuff here. I think this is going to be fantastic. Obviously keep the feedback coming. It's not too late to make changes if necessary, but I think this is a really good demonstration of how exciting that this can be. And PGI once again is going to be on board with prizes for the division leaders and stuff, so there's something to fight for. It very well might be bigger and better than last season in terms of prizes. I'm not sure what they're going to come up with, but excited to see what these guys can do. But we do have make sure you go to MRBCleague.com and sign your team up. Or find, if you're not on a team, find a team that plays comp and go play with them. It's going to be good stuff. It's going to be a good season. There are EU, NNA, and Asia Pacific divisions, so we have a little bit of everything for everybody. Follow MRBC League's Twitch channel. This is where I'm going to be doing all of my shoutcasts during the season. I know we're going to do at least one more trial run, so get in there, get it going. And And then also follow me on Twitch. I do shoutcasts outside of MRBC as well for other leagues or for anything that's going on. Bandit B17 is my name in Twitch, so make sure you give me a follow. I know on the 23rd we have another event coming up. The Silken is running one of his experimental games like he did with the LRMs versus Meta. He's doing clans versus Inner Sphere with some of the top players in the game, duking it out to see, you know, our clan's still powerful. Now, given it's a full clan versus full Inner Sphere, but this might lend something to, you know, the CW crowd and stuff like that. It is an 8v8 as well, but let's see what happens, you know. That's the biggest thing, is you don't know what's good and what's bad until you go try it. And we're going to do it, and we're going to put our camera on it, and we're going to talk about it, and hopefully have fun. So 23rd, 5 p.m. Eastern, so it is a day stream. Make sure that you guys catch that. Otherwise, keep watching.
For those of you who do not operate on calendar days, but operate with days of the week, that's this Saturday.
Good call. And I will make sure to take my overlay down or whatever and catch all of the drops without radio calls. But otherwise, I'm going to be putting up all future streams in my Twitch channel, in my profile down below. I also post them up on Reddit. I post them up on Twitter. Make sure you watch out for those. And, you know, hopefully PGI continues to support me as a streamer and puts up my stuff on the front page. That's been pretty slick as well. So, just rolling, finishing up on the last little bit of raffle here. We're going to do our drawing shortly. Go ahead and do that now. Congratulations, Beef Smash. You won. So, awesome. Got you down on my list. I'll be sending out all those codes afterwards. Congratulations on your Mech Bay Beef. And we will catch you guys later.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Pay attention to the paper doll. Make sure you guys are shooting the correct legs. Be careful of the collisions. I don't want to hear complaints about it. Work around it. Let's play this game.
I need another heavy. I've got TB and a quick draw.
I want to get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. And when anybody's running short, is going to stay towards the top of the caldera if we're going to come at them.
I have you in the Griffin.
Sounds good.
Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us, you know, right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine nach Charlie 4.
It's fine, chill the out, man. It's fine. It's just a fire starter.
Komm, Leute, redet miteinander.
15 seconds. Yeah, exactly. Don't die. 15 seconds. Don't die. Guys. 3, 2, 1. Charlie Dar, CT, yellow. Okay, go to Charlie, see if we can get it there.
To your left, is there? So, jetzt gleich hinter die Indie-Pocken.
Mediums be prepared to pull back E40 towards the E5 border. On my mark.
Left side, come on! Like now, I need strikes on OP barrel. Wire our strikes up.
Die Hauptgruppe rechts, Uferlinie.
They have 3 mechs sitting on the left side when you pass over.
Overheating is bad.
Both legs on the Griffin. Hit the Griffin.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. That was such a
That's right. I'm gonna spawn Lance you guys in Charlie, Lance you guys in Bravo. That's B2C1.
This third drop is 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
Leute in die Breite, ziehen Sie dann in die Breite.
Lights, watch our backs. We're gonna about base and take up position in Bravo 6.
Ja, kurze Aufschaltung Delta 4, 3 Stück, 2 Mediums, ein Light, wie ich es richtig gesehen habe.
Make a firing line.
C4 Tactical Hill, boys.
Fox.
Laufen unter ECM, haben 2 durchlaufen, 10 Bravo 4.
And get ready to hit people coming from our right.
Charlie on the left, Charlie, a Hellbringer on the left.
Okay, let's group up towards the left. We're gonna press through Bravo 3 to Bravo 4. I think they're kind of spread out.
Check yourselves. Make sure you've got, you know, UAV cool shot.
Hey, here they come. They're pushing hard, guys.
Deco. Tez on.
Go. Oh, got a contact here, Bravo 3.
Nice, Marshall. I'm on Delta Griffin.
Okay, cross it then. Get in their face. They got a highlighter. They just push up on theta. We need help on theta. Up on theta.
Yep, that's the noise. Go, go, go. Let's finish this.
Full pressure, guys. Full pressure. They're down low. They're down low in Charlie 3. Get the fucking arm, Jackson.
Jackson, cool shot.
Cough. I got him.
Go, P3, go.
Echo, go.
Get over on your mediums, guys. Get Echo Stormcrow.
God, I suck as a pilot, but thank I packed my skill. I'm sorry that you died, sweet girls, but we will send a reasonably nice letter to your family.
Attention to the paper doll. Make sure you guys are shooting the correct legs. Be careful of the collisions. I don't want to hear complaints about it. Work around it. Let's play this game.